A very good afternoon to you, audience. Thank you so much for joining us on OGTV News at 2. I'm Shemilori Makonju. Members of the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors on Thursday morning commenced a nationwide strike despite federal government's last-minute efforts to stop the action. The resident doctors, however, assured Nigerians that the action was not meant to hurt them. They gave the explanation in a message posted on the association's Twitter handle. The union's president, Dr. Oyilawa Okwahi Sui, said that the strike had commenced 8 in the morning on Thursday. The strike is happening at a time when the president, Muhammadu Buhari, is in London for medical checkup. A Nigerian Air Force fighter jet has gone missing in the insurgency-ravaged Borno State in northeast Nigeria, authorities said. The spokesperson for the Nigerian Air Force, Edward Gabquet, said the Alpha jet lost contact with the radar in Borno State. Mr. Gabquet, an air commodore, said the plane disappeared while on interdiction mission in support of ground troops. The mission was part of the ongoing counter-insurgency operations in the northeast. Mr. Gabquet added details of whereabouts of the aircraft or likely cause of contact loss are still sketchy, but will be relayed to the general public as soon as they become clear. These developments came weeks after another Air Force aircraft, Beechcraft King Air B350I, crashed after reporting engine failure on its way to Minna, Niger State. Ogun State is a natural special agro-processing zone location considering the infrastructure concentration of agro-investors' proximity to raw materials and markets. The governor of Ogun State, Prince Akwa Abiodun, made this submission when he received the delegation from African Development Bank, AFDB, and the International Fund for Agricultural Development, who are in Ogun State, on a pre-appraisal mission of the Special Agro-Processing Zone. Governor Service Correspondent Tony Olaniro reports that the governor promised to continue partnering with the international organizations to make the agro-processing zone operational in the state.
Ogun State was identified as one of the 6 states for the Special Agro-Processing Zone by the African Development Bank and International Fund for Agricultural Development, IFAD. While embarking on a pre-appraisal visit to the states, the 2 institutions chose Ogun State as the first port of call. They are very excited with the progress made by the state, observing that the state has achieved a lot on the project.
And we believe, Excellency, that an agro-industrial zone in Ogun State, especially the site that has been presented to us, will be the most viable special agro-industrial zone in the country. We are therefore quick to take up this opportunity to showcase that Nigeria can do what others have been doing for so many years.
When there is a program about to start, it's always reassuring to see that the vision is coming from within. All we have to do for us as funders is to support a vision that exists. And that is a very big plus. So we are starting today, we feel like as funders we are coming running behind the state because the state already knows what to do.
Ogun State Governor Prince Abiodun said there is a level of coordination, aggregation and agro-transformation currently going on in the state as the largest hub for conventional industry and agro-industry.
This is an indication of our continuous effort to seek partnership and collaboration in our resolve to support all levels of agricultural activities, including smallholder farming, achieve food security, create jobs, and link prime producers and youth with the industrial process. We believe and we are aware that private sector participants will play a leading role in the SAP's implementation, which also aligns with current reforms in the state.
He noted that the state is ready to channel resources in pursuance of the project.
This administration has embarked on an aggressive and deliberate provision of adequate infrastructure, not just roads, but we created the Ministry of Transportation to emphasize the importance of having an internodal understanding of connectivity that industrialization actually requires. But it's not enough to have the potentials. Potentials will not translate to industries, jobs, competitiveness, and large markets. But the interconnectivity of resources, partnerships, and support, such as the being proposed AFDB, SAPZ, will change the world of agricultural and industrial intervention, which will achieve win-win situations and sustainable inclusiveness.
Ogun State is currently experiencing agro-industrial revolution, which will lead to economic growth and individual prosperity. Tunde Olaniro, OGTV News.
In his mission towards improving the educational provision in the state to meet the demand for technological and vocational manpower needed for developments, Governor Dapo Abiodun has approved the award of Bachelor of Technology (BTech) by Moshood Abiola Polytechnic, Abeokuta. The Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, Professor Abayomi Arigbabu, conveyed the approval in a letter signed by the State Director of Primary and Higher Education, Mr. Olanloye Wahid, dated March 23, 2021. The letter addressed to the Acting Rector, Dr. Adeoyo Odedeji, stated that His Excellency Prince Dapo Abiodun has graciously granted approval to commence the process of affiliation with Olabisi Onabanjo University for the purpose of running BTech programs. It further explained that the approval will be in tandem with the requirements approved by the National Universities Commission. The BTech approval to Mapoli is also a confirmation of His Excellency's keen interest in education to align it with the demands of modern trends, which places premium on technological and vocational skill acquisition. It will be recalled that Governor Abiodun, on assumption of office, revived Mapoli with the pronouncement to return the institution to status quo ante. While reacting to this development, the acting rector maintained that the program will retain and sustain the hand-on policy of technical and vocational education training policy. The acting rector explained that the BTech will be mainly for national diploma graduates of programs accredited by National Board for Technical Education in the Polytechnic. According to acting rector, the reasons is that to give maximum benefits to all the products and their counterparts from other institutions within the context of the programs accredited in Polytechnic. Dr. Odedeji said as soon as all arrangements have been concluded with OU and NUC, there is assurance that the program will begin before the end of this year. On behalf of the management staff and students of the Polytechnic, Dr. Odedeji expresses heartfelt appreciation to the Governor, Prince Dapo Abiodun, for this giant offer to Mapoli. He promised that the institution will continue to key into the mission of building a future together agenda of the Ogun State government. Education stakeholders across the Southwest geopolitical zones have met to identify challenges, implementable findings, promote result-oriented reforms, and make impactful contributions in order to make education sector compete globally. The meeting tagged Zonal Dissemination Workshop of the Nigeria's Education Sector Analysis Report of all Southwest states held at Mitros Hall at Abeokuta formed the basis of the educational plans in the sector, which would briefly give an overview of the education industry. In his remarks, Ogun State Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, Professor Abayomi Arigbabu, revealed that the education sector analysis was one of the steps for effective planning, which involved conducting an in-depth and holistic diagnosis of trends, emphasizing the importance of reliable and credible data to education planning. Professor Arigbabu said despite the disruptive effect of COVID-19 pandemic on lives and economy of the country and the world at large, Governor Dapo Abiodun has made notable and landmark achievements in the education sector.
The education sector analysis is one of the steps in the sector planning, which involves conducting in-depth and holistic diagnosis of trends as well as the status of the education system. It is also to identify progress, achieved, and outstanding challenges The importance of reliable and credible data to education planning cannot be overemphasized. Hence, there is a need to provide wider publicity and feedback on data that has been collected on the status of education in the states and the national level.
Submission Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Education, Architect Sonny Echono, said the ministry was committed to promoting result-oriented reforms, actualizing the needed momentum, and make impactful contributions in order to make Nigeria's education sector globally competitive. Represented by the National ESA Coordinator, Federal Ministry of Education, Dr. Mrs. Folake Olatunji David, the Permanent Secretary also craved the continued support, cooperation and collaboration of states, agencies and partners to align with the task of enhancing quality education at all levels in the country by providing quality education towards public good and sustainable national development. During the discussion, it was revealed that the northern region has the highest percentage of the more than 12 million out-of-school children with lack of interest in education and high incidence of child labor in the country, prevalent across states. Former Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Dimeji Bankwale, has validated his membership with the ruling All Progressives Congress APC by registering at Ward 10 in Abeokuta South Local Government area of Ogun State. Elizabeth Esson reports that Honorable Bankwale got registered after being received at the party secretariat by party stalwarts led by the state chairman, Chief Yemi Sanusi, who presented him with the party's symbol and constitution.
Recently, the former Speaker representatives under the flagship of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Right Honorable Dimeji Bankwale, declared his intention to join the ruling All Progressives Congress with a visit to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari.
And we shouldn't be found wanting. This is the time to step up and support so that these decisions can be taken, executed, and owned by us as a nation. Because 10 years from now, 20 years from now, people will ask who stood up when these things were happening. It's every citizen's right, and all we've done is exercise it today.
Right Honorable Dimeji Bankwale took a step further as he was welcomed to the party at the Ogun State Party Secretariat, which happens to be his constituency. Party stalwarts, led by the chairman, Chief Yemi Sanusi, presented him with the party symbol and constitution.
Whether some of us know or we don't know, you are more or less a member of this party because your former party, the defunct All Nigerian People's Party, ANPP, is one of the legacy parties that come together, march together to form APC. Once again, I congratulate you. And from now, when you finish your registration, you are a bona fide member, and you have the same right like any other person.
Right Honorable Bankwale was thereafter led to Ward 10 in Abeokuta South Local Government area for registration as a full-fledged member of All Progressives Congress, with party members fully on the ground to welcome him.
It's multi-directional because first, as indigene, second, as a politician who deem it fit to join the moving train, because our party now is the moving train.
The registration exercise was conducted by the Party Registration and Revalidation Committee members drawn from all the Southwest states, after which he was presented with APC identity slip, making him a card-carrying member of the party. Elizabeth Esson, OGTV News.
No fewer than 10 mentally challenged persons have been taken off the streets of Abeokuta metropolis through the humanitarian gesture of Southwestshire Health Trust, a non-governmental organization saddled with the responsibility of providing free healthcare treatment and rehabilitation to the mentally challenged. Olajumoke Oladipupo, who covered the exercise, now reports.
It is on record that Southwestshire Health Trust has over the years been rehabilitating and bringing back to life some people who are mentally challenged and rehabilitating them. Members of this non-governmental organization were out again But this time around, it was in Abeokuta metropolis, where they rescued about 10 mentally challenged people. The Chief Executive Officer of Southwest Share Health Trust, Honorable Onomusi Onodeko, stated that he and his team remain committed to giving hope to the hopeless.
Well, it's a passion. It's a passion for humanity. I can't imagine how Nigerians go to bed seeing their fellow human being in the condition you have seen these people, and we expect them to spend the rest of their life in such condition. You know, it touches my heart, and I wish we could do more than we are doing. We are not funded by government, we are not funded by any agency as I speak to you. We are supported by Nigerians.
Calling on those that are blessed in the society to emulate the gesture.
We are doing this, to be honest with you, to complement the effort of His Excellency, Prince Dr. Dapo Abiodun. We don't want to wait, and we don't expect that government will be the one to do everything for us. So we as individuals, as organizations, we should look at a way of complementing what the government is doing. And I want to implore Nigerians to have that love to their fellow human beings. They are actually incapacitated, and it is only when we come to help them, they appreciate it.
Members of the community who witnessed the act of kindness displayed by this non-governmental organization expressed satisfaction about the way the exercise is being carried out. All the mentally challenged that were rescued were later taken to Itele Ijebu Rehabilitation Center of the Southwest Share Health Trust for proper rehabilitation. Olajumoke Oladipupo, OGTV News.
We'll take a break now. The news continues shortly. The news continues. As part of extra-curriculum activities, the management of Al-Wahid Model Schools located at Adeniregun Street, Iyano Ilogo, Ogun State, took its pupils and students on a facility tour to the Ogun State Television, Abeokuta. The learners were conducted around facilities, both at old and the new studios of OGTV. The Vice Principal, Mrs. Rukayat Sanusi Alashela, who led the students on the tour, confirmed that the visit became necessary to complement the theory knowledge about television station imparted in the learners with the actualities.
For them to have knowledge of communication broadcasting, you know, they have been watching this at home for a long period of time, and for them to see it live, that this is where the things are actually coming from, and to have knowledge, to gain more things, at least to add to their educational backgrounds.
With the experience and knowledge acquired during the tour.
Because I have an idea of how the thing works, how the transmitting of news and everything works.
I am very happy. Ogun State Television is good a lot.
Model schools comprises nursery, primary and secondary schools. Now to foreign news. 7 of Hong Kong's most prominent pro-democracy campaigners have been convicted of unlawful assembly relating to huge demonstrations 2 years ago. Media tycoon Jimmy Lai and veteran politician Martin Lee were among those found guilty of organizing an unauthorized march. All 7 had pleaded not guilty, but now face time in prison. A small group of protesters outside the courts held posters denouncing political persecution. 2 other activists had earlier already pleaded guilty and face up to 5 years in jail. The group of 7 will be sentenced at a later date. Some of them are also facing other charges, including under the Beijing Imposed National Security Law, which was introduced in response to 2019's mass protest and carries severe penalties, including long prison terms. To end the news at 2, coexistence and personal peace are at the heart of global peace and harmony. You can now watch us live on these platforms: Apple, Roku, Facebook, and Android devices. You can also watch live on OGTV website, www.ogtv.com.ng/live, or email info@ogtv.com.ng. Thank you so much for watching, and do have a lovely day. Bye for now.